I guess, what are the problems about how happiness is typically thought about or studied? What is missing from that?
Look, excellent question. So, in one of my posts, I have this cheeky picture of the elephant and the blinds. It's I think it comes from India. The story. And the story, I'm sure lots of your listeners have heard about it, but you've got a bunch of blind people and they're put in front of an elephant and they are asked, okay, what an elephant looks like. And so, one touches the trunk of the elephant and says, well, an elephant is kind of, looks like a tube and it's wet at the end. Another one touches the tail, says, well, it looks as a string and it's very fluffy at the end. And another one touches the tusk and say, well, it's very hard, it's very smooth. And so when you read the literature, sometimes in behavioral sciences and social sciences, and when they don't have an evolutionary perspective, you get the same kind of stuff. I talk about the books on self-help, books on psychology, of happiness, and you will see, you get a book, and this book will tell you to be happy, you need social connections. The secret of happiness is to have friends, to have family. So, okay, that's very interesting. You take another book, and this other book will tell you the secret of happiness is to control your desires, to learn not to want what you don't have. That's Stoicism, that's Buddhism. And another book will tell you the secret of happiness is to reach for the stars, to have very high goals and to work very hard to reach it. And then you look at these different things like, okay, but what's the link between these different things? I mean, are we talking about the same things? Are we talking about happiness? And there's one explanation. What's the connection between these different stories? And these books are like the blinds, giving you a perspective of the elephant. And the elephant about happiness is that you have to consider that happiness is a system of valuation, design, and I use the word design, not designed by a designer, but evolution is an impersonal process which looks like it's designing stuff, designed by evolution to help you make decisions. And so when you take this perspective, all these different kind of secrets of happiness make sense, but in a big picture. So you asked me, what kind of stuff it explains. Like, for instance, as I say, we are social species, so we will need connections. That's one fact. But on the other hand, sometimes you get other books about happiness tells you, well, you need to know when to say no to other people. You need to say, people make claims to your time, says, can you help me, Chris? Can you do this, etc. At some point, you need to be able to say no. Well, every system of subjective feelings helping you to navigate the world has to handle that you are facing trade-offs. So if you're always saying no to people, maybe you won't have too many friends, and that's not good for your success. But if you're always saying yes, maybe you'll be a pushover. People will take advantage of you. So a right system needs you to balance these things. If you take another things like the goal you have in life, if you have very low goals, like everything is fine, whatever you achieve, you're very happy with it, you won't be very successful. And so a system of happiness, which is designed to make you successful, has to push you, to nudge you to try as hard as you can. So whenever you're going to be successful, you're going to look forward to the next challenge. So now you may think, oh, what will make me very happy in the future is this big milestone. If I reach this milestone, that's it. I won't need very much to do much better than that. And what happens is that, let's say you work very hard and you reach the milestone. And then suddenly you say, okay, that was good. But what next? You're going to start looking further ahead. Like, what's the next milestones? Like, if you think that being millionaire is what will make you happy, well, the sad story is that when you reach the first million or the 2 million, whatever, you'll feel good, but you'll start thinking about the next thing. So your system of happiness will keep pushing. And so when you have these books, they tell you, either you don't need to care about what you don't have, or on the contrary, you need to aim very high. They just look at one side of this balance. The book tells you, don't care about what you don't have. It says, yes, you shouldn't look too high. It's not worth it for me to think in the morning, oh, I'm not as rich as Elon Musk, so this is very disappointing. There's no point for me to think that. So that's not going to help me being successful, to have a goal which is so high that I'm never, there's no point. Whatever I do in the day is not going to change it. So I shouldn't care about things which are unachievable. But at the same time, if I wake up in the morning and says, I'm great, I'm healthy, everything is fine, why do I stress, etc.? Well, I'm not maybe going to do the right things, which is going to help me move forward. So our system of happiness is going to be this kind of stuff, which kind of try to find the right level to push us to do our best. It's neither too high, neither too low.